For CoreLife, and you can always find us on Facebook, so make sure that you check those out. We are going to get started. This is Greg Rollo. He is from GSR. I knew I was going to do that.
You got it.
And he's going to talk about maximizing you. So if you're eating, go ahead and eat. If not, then we'll make sure that you eat afterwards. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, this will be my first talk besides what talks I give in the gym every single day to groups about this size, but everyone's there and they want to be there ready to work out, so it's going to be a little bit different. Give you as much feedback as you want as we go, and that'll make it easier on me. Basically, if we start right out, maximizing you is something that we came up with, and we'll kind of get in further into depth in that. But something we came up with that kind of defines what we're trying to do at GSR, and just as a whole, as a community and as a group, what our motive is behind maximizing you. So we'll explain that further. So CrossFit Level 1, CrossFit Level 2, that's just the certifications that I've acquired while building the gym, and also just a further certification that basically says how educated are you to instruct people on weight loss and fitness and where you're headed as far as the direction goes. CrossFit basically gives you the knowledge, but I can't attribute all of it to that. I've basically been working out for my entire life. I went to Vestal High School and graduated from there. I went to Alfred State, then came back, went to Broome. I've spent the majority of my life here, so besides 2.5 hours away at Alfred. But the majority of my life's been spent here, and basically this community is me, so I want to put back into it as much as I can. So I started the business in 2013. People are rolling in, it's good. I started the business in 2013, and it's just grown exponentially ever since, probably 50 members per year up to this year, and it's just, it's really been awesome. We have a few of the members in here today, so if they applaud before you do, that's who they are. I think, let's see if I do it right. Oh, wow. So I wanted to get a little bit into what CrossFit is before I just say what GSR is, and to me that's a little bit of a separate conversation. So as far as what CrossFit is, by definition, and this is through CrossFit, it's constantly varied functional movements executed at high intensity or perform at high intensity. So if that means anything, it's basically if you're going to go for a run and you're going to do push-ups and sit-ups, you're going to do them to the best of your ability with the highest intensity. The following day, maybe you're going to do jump rope and you're going to ride a bike, and you're going to switch up the combination of movements. GPP is general physical preparedness, so we're not essentially within CrossFit trying to be the person with the best mile time. We're also not trying to be a marathon runner or bench 500 pounds. Whatever your situation may be, wherever you're at, whatever age you're at, maybe you're an athlete, maybe you're 75 years old and you just want to get in better shape. My grandmother comes to the gym and she's 82, and she loves the gym. She comes in 2 days a week. We put her through the same program that we would anyone else. Now it's going to be scaled to fit her needs, and we'll get further into that. So that's what general physical preparedness is. It's just general health and wellness. CrossFit, if you watch on ESPN, is very intimidating. That's like watching the NFL and thinking you should never buy a football and throw it with your friends or with your kids or grandkids, right? So that's the idea. They have 10 components of CrossFit, and these are basically everything you can imagine as far as what your body can do in space and time and how it can move. So that's just that right there, and we'll move on. Oh, come on. Jeez, the pressure's on. Now you see my sweating. All right, so fitness in 100 words. Again, this is by Greg Glassman, who created CrossFit in 2000. Fitness in 100 words, he came up with this. If you look at the top, and you can read through it, I won't read the whole thing out loud. If you read through the top, it's basically saying how your diet should look, right? You know, if we're going to push for CoreLife a little bit, this is how the CoreLife's menu looks. So it's very much fitting what the idea that CrossFit as a whole came up with as far as how you should be eating. After that, it's practice and train major lifts, deadlift, clean, squat, some of those things. If you ever heard of a deadlift, it may seem extreme depending on what your fitness level is or activity level is now, but everybody should deadlift. Everybody should deadlift something, because if you bend over to pick up a bag of dog food, if you bend over to pick up your grandkid, or if you bend over to pick someone up and you're wrestling and you're a younger kid, a 6-year-old getting in a wrestling program, all those things are bending over and standing up, right? So it's all the same thing. It's just at what level do you need that? We're not trying to get someone who's 75 to necessarily deadlift 300 pounds, but we want them to be able to reach over or bend down, pick something up that's heavy, and do it safely. And if we can train them in the gym properly, then they're less likely to have injuries down the road, right? Then you move on to basically how many days a week. They say routine is the enemy. In my mind, routine is definitely the enemy, but monotony is more the enemy. So it's not saying that you should go out every single day. We see runners all the time that come into the gym and they haven't improved their running time, or they've had injuries from IT band syndrome and things like that. You hear about it all the time that running's not dangerous. It's people who are uninformed become dangerous to themselves. And the same thing in the gym. We have people that have come in and they don't bench press, or they don't do pull-ups. I don't do those things because that's how you get hurt. Well, they're just doing them wrong, maybe, or they're doing a higher volume than their body can handle. So that's where we come in and we try to basically train people up so that they're moving safely. Other than that, regularly learn and play new sports. That's part of their motto, and I believe that. It's fun. I think the number of sports that I've done that I never did in high school or middle school is just outstanding. I mean, it could be bocce ball, all right? If it's a riot and it treats you well and you learn something new, then go to it. Within CrossFit, you can compete. Pamela is one of our members. She's 63 this year, breast cancer survivor, just awesome. She's been with us for a little over 3 years, and she's competed in CrossFit. And that may sound so extreme, but she's doing it in her category against other females, and it fits, and it's safe, and it's just something fun to do, something that most people would think they would never do. There's age divisions and everything like that, small competitions, larger competitions. We run one that's called the Lee Barta Challenge, and that's in this past year is in the arena, and that's to honor Officer Lee Barta, who passed away 26 years ago this year. Yeah, 21 years ago this year. So either way, it's something that's pretty awesome, and we love it because it brings the community together. So something we've been changing is just from GSR CrossFit to GSR Fit. Kind of finding that most people, and we could probably do by a show of hands how many people have ever heard of CrossFit, right? And how many people think CrossFit is dangerous the first time you ever heard of it? Yeah, you can be honest, right. So we're changing our brand a little bit to GSR Fit, and that's just to kind of welcome more people in without the fear of CrossFit. You don't have to do clean and jerk. You don't have to do deadlifts. You don't have to do these things to this extreme that you may see or hear about. You're doing them to a safe level. So for us, CrossFit coaching community is how we deliver what we do. The CrossFit is definitely the program that we use across the board, and I'll get further into some of the classes that we have. Coaching, that's really the value. It's not like going into the gym. It's not going to be $10 a month, right? It's going to be a higher price point, and any CrossFit gym across the country, any personal training that you could find anywhere is going to be a higher dollar. If you're looking at American Family Fitness or a Planet Fitness or something, Gold's Gym, something along those lines, probably looking 30 to 50 bucks a month, maybe 75. Our gym's gonna be about 140, maybe 155, and then you get into something like personal training, that could be $75, $80 an hour, maybe $100 an hour. So there are different price points, and it's all what you need. I feel like I wouldn't take a step back from where we're at. I really enjoy what we do as far as group training. I feel like it's a great dollar. If you break it down per month, it's essentially like buying a cup of coffee or two a day. you know, so it all depends on how often you come. Ranges between $5 and $8 a class. So that's kind of what our price point is if you really break it down. And if we can give a great value and counsel people on nutrition and get people set up for success, then we've done an awesome thing. So our classes, if you look at it from start to finish, they're all an hour long. And basically, they're going to work, it's called the workout of the day is at the end. So when you step in, you're always looking at the WOD, you see what our warm-up is, the coach instructs you through the whole thing, then you step through, it's more of a skill or strength session, and then further into the WOD, workout of the day, and that's going to be the higher intensity portion. Like my example of running and jump rope or running and push-up sit-ups, that combination is probably what you're going to see as far as the WOD goes, right? If we have people that can't run, they have ankle issues, we basically meet them on that level, and then maybe they're on a bike, maybe they're on a rower, whatever their limitations may be, they don't press overhead. It's not a big deal. And that's regardless of GSR, we'll brag us up a little bit and plug, but otherwise any gym or any trainer you ever go to, they should be able to meet you on your level and get you moving. Everybody should be able to move, and it's for your health, right? So our class options for us, we have a daily CrossFit WOD. That's going to be the majority of our schedule, but every single day we have classes within that are either done we have two sides of the gym, and we'll show you that in a second. They're either done basically on our larger side, or they're ran at the same time as our CrossFit WOD. So we have Power Hour. That's going to be something that's specific to powerlifting, which is bench press, deadlift, and back squat. Those classes are basically going to be lower in cardio, but more about just getting strong. Maybe we have guys or girls that just want to lift something heavy, get a pull-up, then that's going to be for them. Maybe they want to get stronger specifically for CrossFit. Maybe they have had back injuries and they don't want to have that anymore, and they're a little nervous to get into the full CrossFit swing of things, so they can come into Power Hour, and that's going to be something that's a little slower paced, more specific to strengthening the body than worrying about maybe moving quick or jumping on a box. Quick Fit is kind of the opposite. That's going to be something that is about 45 minutes of cardio. Got a couple people in here who have definitely done it, and they will tell you it's rather torturous. So it's like a sweat fest, right? So call it more of a boot camp style. For us, we call it Quick Fit. We have Strong Fit, which we just added, and that's going to be on our weekends. If you've ever seen Strongman with Atlas stones and tire flipping, same deal. Fit Kids, that's for basically between 6 and 13. If they're around the 12 to 13 age and they're getting a little older, then we'll let them go off into the adult class, but it kind of all depends on what their skill level and maturity is. Personal training, we offer it. Same thing, it's like $75, $80 an hour. We don't have a lot of that. Personally, I work with one kid, he's an autistic boy, he's 21 years old. It's the most amazing experience you've ever had in your life. Driven, motivated, like, has more of a character than you could ever imagine inside. It's really, really cool. And then the newest thing we're doing is nutritional counseling. That takes a lot of time and effort to really dig deep into someone's diet and write programs. So for us, we just do counseling where we'll meet with them, talk it over, give them guidelines to eat. Just say, go to CoreLife Monday through Friday and you'll be fine. But otherwise, it is that basically what CoreLife kind of has, that type of diet really fits what we have. So if it's obviously, day to day, you might be eating at home, but a convenience factor, this is what we tell people. So, and that's not BS. This is the gym in 2013. So that's when I walked into it and what it looked like. This is 220 stage in Vestal, so it's where the rail trail's at, if anyone's ever walked there. So this is what the gym looked like. When I walked in, I was contract painting, and that's what I did for 6.5 years. Power washing, painting homes, businesses like this, just everything you can imagine. So when I walked in, that's kind of what was presented in front of me. And then over the course of years, that's now what it looks like. And we've actually taken over the second side. We're working on our second location right now, have the building, and it's being renovated. So I'm pretty excited about that. It's been a long haul. I went from myself coaching every single class to we have 9 coaches that coach many different classes, have specialty courses that they've taken specifically for either strongman or kids classes. It's been a haul, and I've really enjoyed it, but looking forward to keep moving and giving the best that we can for the area. Hopefully I'll do a good job of making this last. One thing I didn't say was basically, well, I got into it a little bit. The CrossFit coaching community, the biggest factor I think that has made the gym successful, and our members there's some of them in here that could attest to it. It's like, in my eyes, it's very much the accountability factor. Everyone is like family. We have get-togethers. We've rented out the Lost Dog. We just had bonfire and food and games and everything. A get-together, 75 people showed up, which is phenomenal, volume out of the gym. That's real good. And it's much more than a gym. You don't walk in there and nobody says hi. It's a community, like, through and through. I can barely describe what it feels like when you walk in daily. Whether you're a meathead, which I would claim myself as one. I've been working out since I was 8. It's all I've ever done, and I love it and enjoy it. I played college sports a little bit. They're Division III, and I really enjoyed that, but 99% of my time, I loved training for the sport. So the fact that I'm here now doesn't shock me. I wish I found it faster. But other than that, it's an amazing experience and something that I'd love more people to see and to feel. So as far as our community does go, those are Marine Poolies. We do work with them every quarter, and actually they're right out of here in Binghamton, Albany, Oneonta, and down from PA. So basically, they all come in, and we do every quarter. I think we've had usually 75, sometimes 80 or 90 Marine Poolies, and they come in. We put them through a 3.5-hour training session that basically, we hope, better prepares them for what they're going to go through in boot camp. I mean, we can't thank them. Whatever you feel about war and everything like that, it's not good. But the Marines and what they do, and these kids, boys and girls, very, very young, are setting aside the rest of their life for some of them, or the next 4 years, 6 years. And they're setting that aside for us. So the best, the most we can do is give back in some way. So they come in, we train them, we talk about nutrition, and we try to do as much as we can. Myself and another coach actually went to Paris Island and spent some time there. It was a week and a half, and it was going through the training regimens that they go through. It was called an educator's workshop, and it was just unbelievable. You really got to feel for, like, boot camp is not miserable, but boot camp is a way to make these kids learn to work together, so for the safety of everybody else. So it's a neat experience. Other than that, someone's passing out on the bike, and that was after what we do. What we do is called MRF. So every Memorial Day, again, it's called a hero WOD. Within CrossFit, there's workouts called hero workouts, and they're generally after someone who has fallen in the military. And if you've seen Lone Survivor, so that movie, the guy who gave his life, the whole movie, right? So that's what MRF is. It's a mile run, 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 air squats, another mile run. To say that, though, it sounds like so crazy of a workout, but we have people that do a quarter-mile walk. They come in, they do 50 ring rows, they do modified push-ups, and then their air squats maybe to a 20-inch box. Right, so super modified, and then they walk another quarter mile. So we have people that do that. This past year, we had 150 people that came out and did it. So it was a riot. It was really, really fun. So to get further into kind of the whole premise of what we came up with as far as maximizing you is, I had kind of 4 main points when I came up with maximizing you and what it really means. To me, your health, your body, your mind, and then essentially your life. Those 4 points are really what I felt maximizing you means. And you guys can take this however you want and whatever stage of life you're in. Health obviously being something that's measurable, something that is internally, can you walk? What's your bone density? How are your HELs and kind of where do you stand as far as blood pressure and things like that? Are you physically healthy? Your body, more things that are measurable as far as can you run, can you jump, can you do things that your body is physically performing. Then your mind, really it's mental stamina, mental fortitude, and for us it's belief in yourself and some way that you're able to release tension and kind of get that off your chest, if that makes sense. Overall, it's going to affect your life. For me, if you get these things in line and you're very much able to control things in your body and if I feel working out and eating right then carry over into how your mind and body are, hopefully, given no ridiculous health issues that are uncontrollable, you're going to be able to have a rather happy or successful life. And whatever you define by that, that's really up for debate on what an individual feels is a successful life. I'm going to look at notes. I think that's good. So leading off of that, I use something in my everyday life that's called the AMRAP mentality. So the AMRAP is another workout. So if we're doing a WOD, it's as many reps or as many rounds as possible, right? So if all of us were doing push-ups, right now we all said, we'll use sit-ups, right? If we all said, let's do 2 minutes of sit-ups and we're gonna do as many as you can, right? It doesn't matter what you get in relation to someone else, but as many as you can. If in 2 minutes I get 20, and then I work out for about a month, I start eating a little better, and I do that again, then all of a sudden I got 30 sit-ups in those same 2 minutes, right? Now I'm able to see that I've progressed. But if in that AMRAP, in those 2 minutes, my phone rings, am I gonna get up, am I gonna stop and go check on that? Probably not, right? At least in the gym, if you do, I'll probably yell at you. So if you have to get a drink, do your thing. But otherwise, in those 2 minutes, all we ask in the gym, and all you should ask all I ask of myself is that I focus. I put everything I can into that AMRAP for that short duration. You may be tired that day, you may not have slept, the baby was crying, you got fired from your job, something could happen, right? Maybe you just had a bad day. You woke up on the wrong side of the bed, whatever it is. But for me, in that AMRAP, I'm trying to completely focus on that and make it the best that I can. So if I'm thinking of as far as how it applies to different things, back to the maximizing you, if I'm thinking of health, basically you're going to be sweating, you're going to be increasing your blood flow. That should be positive for you. If I'm thinking of your body, then you're going to increase performance. I went from 20 reps up to 30 reps, right? This is starting to roll in. If I think about my mind, it's mental fortitude to not quit, to not stop. And this is so applicable in every stride of life and every path that you may take. And again, we'll get further into why I feel this way. And I'm pretty passionate about it, and I feel like it's been a big reason that we've been successful as a gym and as a community so far. And to veer from that, I think would be a mistake for us. We try to instill it into our members. And then just straight life, I think everything is just a carryover into your life. The family, the relationships, they all will benefit from you being in a positive mind and in a focused state. So if I say, how does it apply to life? If I think of school, myself is probably a bad example, but in the school, if I think of my CrossFit level 1, I was majorly focused, and there was nothing that could have deterred me. The minute I found CrossFit in 2012, I walked out of I had done a competition. I'd never heard of CrossFit, and I did a competition, and I did very poorly, by the way. But when I left there, all I said was, I could do this, and I can do this very well. And I signed up that night for my level 1. That was July, I did the competition. August, I did my level 1. And by February, I had a lease on a building and opened that year. So that was, I just moved, and I didn't see any other path but that. The entire time I worked another job, 60, 70 hours, whatever it took. But I was focused on that one goal of providing something to the community that would just feel good. And it feels amazing to be able to do that now. And now I'm providing jobs. Now I'm providing a place for more people than the 20 people that walked in the door within the first 4 to 5 months. So that's me as far as my schooling. I really focused. But for people that maybe they're trying to be a nurse. My cousin took the BAT program, BU. That's no joke. Had to be very focused and see her way through. If at any point she wavered, she may not have graduated, and that may have changed her whole course of her life. You think of work, it gets further into that. if Dina doesn't show up for work, that may be a bad deal. It can make it very, very complicated, and then I wouldn't be standing here. So, you say in relationships, many of you have husbands, wives, boyfriends, girlfriends, whatever it may be. That relationship's not going to last if you're not committed to it. If every day you walk out, if you're not saying I love you, I care about you, I'm thinking about you, if there's not some form of communication, and I mean uninterrupted communication, it's not going to last, right? And that's a harsh reality. And now if we get into our fitness, it's really the same thing. I can carry it over into the gym, and we hope that what we do, we start here, and we hope that it flips up into everybody's work life, school life, and relationships. For our fitness, if we ask you to do that AMRAP, I'm not doing it to be mean or to make you, sweat or puke. I hope none of that happens, kind of. But I hope that something good comes of it. I hope that you're building your mind. That's just how I've always worked. I've probably been a harder worker than a smarter worker when I was younger, and now I'm learning the reverse. But that's just what it is. When you get into nutrition, it's the same thing. The AMRAP mentality is kind of folds into maximizing your time and your energy and your effort within it. If you're not focused on your nutrition, you're not going to get the results. If you have diabetes and every single day you're dousing your diet with sugar and drinking soda, if you love it and it's good for you and you don't mind, then do it to it and enjoy it while you can. But if you know you have a problem or there's a potential problem down the road, you should take care of business. You should take care of your life so that you can affect other people's lives. That's how I view it. If I'm able to live this life, then for myself, then possibly my members, or maybe one of you takes something out of this today, and maybe it's not today, tomorrow, whatever day, a month from now, it's able to positively impact someone in your life, greater than you ever could imagine, because you said one thing, because you thought one thing, because you realized drinking soda is bad, and you mentioned it to your friend who was already pre-diabetic, and all of a sudden they're not. And they start exercising, and you just start going for walks with your friend, and that all of a sudden, or your mom, or your grandmother, or your kid who is having problems, you start going for walks with them because you realize there's an issue, then this entire thing was worth something. And that's kind of how I view it all. Focused effort plus consistency is results. We can say that. It's basically, results are such a touchy subject within the fitness world. You see pictures all the time, before and afters, and you have no idea how long that may have taken someone or what path they took to get there. If you think that you put on 50 pounds over the past 6 years, it's not going to come off in a month. It's going to take time, and allowing yourself the patience with yourself to do that is okay. And that's just my personal take on it. I think we'll move on. This is the coolest whiteboard I've ever seen. Right? Everyone else never seen this. And that kind of gets me further into this. So finding your why. Finding your why gets deeper than saying you need to have a goal. A goal is great, and it sounds awesome. And if you think about the stimulus that happens, the endorphins that are released in your body the minute you tell somebody, I'm going to run a marathon, I'm going to lose 50 pounds, I'm going to go to the gym tomorrow morning. And then the morning comes and you go, and 20 days in, you've been going pretty good, and you're feeling good about yourself, and you start to fall off that. Or you've been eating healthy, and all of a sudden you get to the office and they brought in donuts and you have 6 of them. All right. Guilty. That party I said, oh yeah. So it's very, very good. But I look at it as the goal needs to be attainable, measurable, and time-bound. Within CrossFit, and I believe why it works, everything is either somewhat attainable, it may be a far stretch, and it's kind of everything, there's another level constantly. So everything's attainable. You can do a pull-up. What version you're going to do, that's up to the coaches to be able to meet you where you're at. So it's an attainable goal. You're able to complete the workout. It's measurable because you were able to do pounds, we're able to do reps, we're able to figure out how you're moving, And then it's time bound, whether it's an AMRAP or it's a workout for time. Maybe it's the Murph workout I mentioned, where it's the run, you're doing all these other things, and then you're running again. You can figure out that that workout took me 32 minutes. Well, maybe the next year it only took you 28 minutes. Or it took you longer, but you did a harder version of it. Maybe you went from doing modified push-ups to push-ups on the ground. And then a couple of years down the road, you're doing pull-ups from the rack rather than ring rows, which is like a TRX trainer, right? If we've seen those. So whatever goal you're choosing needs to be kind of fit these boundaries. And the reason for that is just so you can stay on track. For myself, I love CrossFit as a sport. It's very fun for me. So it's like people that have played basketball or people that want to do marathons. It's whatever you're doing for yourself as far in the fitness world. I love CrossFit as far as a sport. That's kind of worked for me. And for myself, I have goals within CrossFit that I want, ones that are attainable and ones that are a little further out. But the attainable ones keep me on track because they're, for myself, there's one in January 10th. I'll be in Florida and it'll be a very fun competition. It's a big deal within the CrossFit world, not bigger than that, but it's a big deal within that. So that's my immediate goal. It's attainable, it's very measurable because there's an online qualifier. I can see how I placed. And then it's time bound because I only have 2 months. Right? In 2 months, I need to be at a certain level. I can then have little goals within that fit my criteria for what I have to do when I get there. Lift a certain weight, run a certain speed or a certain distance, and kind of be able to meet those. It's like being a basketball player. You need to be able to hit a certain percentage of free throws in practice if you think that you're realistically going to be able to play in the game. There's just measurable ways in everything. The same way at work. If you're at work, there are timelines and there are deadlines. And if you can apply it somehow to say, my goal is that I want to get all of these meetings out of the way by Wednesday. Well, maybe those meetings don't need to sit around and kind of BS for another hour on top, right? That's something to think about. I won't swear. BS is the word. When I say tie an emotion to that goal, what I mean is just, what is it going to feel like? And be real with yourself. What is it really, really, really going to feel like deep down? If you say, I want to do it so I want to lose 50 pounds so I have more confidence. Okay, that is an emotion. Confidence by definition would be an emotion. But realistically, you want to lose 50 pounds so you can walk out to the beach in a bikini, right? You want to lose 50 pounds so you can beat your son in basketball. And you want to do these things, whatever it may be. It's not necessarily the thing that you're saying. Think about the real deep emotion that says it. Or I want to run a 5K because deep down I've been upset with the fact that I've never been able to do that. I've deep down, not confidence, not pride, all that stuff, like really the thought behind it, right? And there's something in all of us. Guaranteed there's something in all of us. Maybe we want to quit our job and we wanted to go on to something bigger. Maybe we wanted to apply for a job that we weren't confident enough to go do. And I can stand here at 29 and say that and make it sound easy, but I didn't quit my job I was painting. It was very hard to quit that job because it gave me comfort. It gave me a solid foundation, but when it finally happened, I was nervous as you could imagine. It was very nerve-wracking to drop that and say, oh my gosh, I need to make this gym now work in a whole nother level because it now has to provide. And that can be in anybody's life, or whether it happened or it's happening or it will happen. Nutrition. If the emotion of saying, if you think, how I connect it is saying that if you want to lose weight, and you're losing weight, we keep saying it because we're talking about fitness and nutrition, but if we want to lose weight, that is a large task, and sometimes that can be daunting. A better way to kind of then get into your plan with that is to say, I'm gonna eat good for 30 days, or I'm not just eat good, because it's a little generic, I'm gonna not drink soda for 30 days, right? I'm gonna not eat peanut butter for 3 weeks. And creating these little micro goals then create the plan to which you can then move forward. Maybe it is moving on from a job that you're not really happy with, and you want to go into something that you've been thinking about forever. You want to start your own business, and you want to sell things on eBay. I think that's still big. So if that's what you want to do, there's a lot of hours in the day, and there's a lot of ways to do that. You can still keep your job, but you have to think about where you're focusing your time in order to move on and do that. So those are my thoughts. So with that, after you define the plan, identifying the person you need to be. You really need to tell yourself that I am the type of person that when if I'm gonna do this CrossFit thing and I have 2 months, I'm the type of person that when I leave here tonight and it's 7:30 and I'm getting home by 8:30 and I've done my work by 9, I'm still gonna go for my run. That has to be your thought with whatever plan you have. Whether it's in work, if it's in life, if it's in a relationship, you're the type of person that when you get out of work late, you're gonna still call your girlfriend, your husband, your wife, and you're gonna have that interaction with them. You're the type of person that when I get home and the baby's crying, I'm gonna pick that baby up because you care about it so much. Yeah, him or her. So that's your thought. You need to define whatever that goal is and find what your why is. Really define it, figure out where you can then fit it. Say, I want to have X done in 2 months, whatever it may be. I want to have it done in 2 months, and I'm going to ask for the raise of $1,000, right? I'm going to ask for that raise, and I'm going to ask for it within 2 months. Tie an emotion to it. Maybe there's an emotion of getting the raise that says, I deserve it, I feel underpaid, I've been so upset, and it's making you miserable at work, it's making you miserable at life, and then back when you get home. Right? It's affecting everything. So if you can narrow down what can then greatly impact the rest of your life, I feel like that's a good move. Then it just boils down to execution. You actually have to do it. Like I said before, it's so easy to say that you want something, and just by telling people, and I'm sure everyone in this room's done it, I've done it, maybe it's just having a conversation with somebody, you quickly say, oh, I'd love to do that, or I've always wanted to. Well, do you really want to do that? Have you always wanted to do that? Probably not, because you would have done it, right? So what's stopping you? What's holding you back? And maybe it's just that thing you said was not truly your goal, and that's okay. But if there's something that's really irking you, then you really want to go for, do it. If you want to drive a Mercedes, what does it take to do that? Maybe that will give you the confidence, and you've just always wanted one, and it's going to be like the smile on my face when I get in that car every day. Maybe that's your thought. Maybe you've wanted a Porsche your whole life. Then what are the goals and what are the steps to get there, right? And it may seem vain to say I want a car, but if that's what you want, and that's just going to make you happy or enjoy life and then positively affect every other aspect of life, get a Porsche. I'd get an Audi RS7. They're cool. Just saying, if I had a choice. Then it boils down to maximizing your time. For me, it's putting the first things first, right? So whatever's most important, your family, your work, your goals, and whatever values you may have in life. So regardless of what finding your why is and whatever you want it to be, if you want that car, that's fine. But if it goes against your values, if you think that you shouldn't be having things that are quote vain, and you're donating a lot of money and you're giving a lot of your time, and it just doesn't fit the budget because the time that you're giving to charities and organizations, maybe that's time better spent. And that's totally, for you to decide within your life. For me, I definitely, my family and my work, I almost call the same thing. I put a lot of time in the members, and I wouldn't have it any other way. I'd be bored if I didn't. For me, goals, personal goals are just to, and you guys can, think of what your own goals would be. My personal goal is to provide as many jobs as possible within our area. I love the area. I'm happy being here. I want to provide as many jobs as possible while creating a gym that can then benefit as many members as possible in the area, and hopefully that trickles over, that we make enough money that we're able to do charity events, and that we're able to do things for the kids for free, and we can continue doing stuff for the poolies, and like the monetary comes after, because if providing a great service to all these members can then provide us with the means to go out and affect more people positively who maybe can't afford that, then that's it. That's all we have to do. So what will get us there is kind of, I have to find those attainable and measurable steps. Larger building, second location, more coaching staff. Those are my things that I'm trying to reach. Then I have little minor goals to then try and get there, or minor steps. So that's for us. Urgent items are usually the least important. Within your time, within your day, I know I was definitely guilty of this when I first started the business, and I thought I had to be on Instagram responding to everybody's message within 2 seconds, and I had to be on Facebook constantly. How many people have Facebook or Instagram or Snapchat in here? Oh yeah, we all got it. So for the most part. So these things in many ways are time sucks, and they're made to be, right? From the hearts and the emojis to the way the timeline's set up to reading your patterns and algorithms of putting what they believe you want to see in front of you, so you keep scrolling, you stay on longer, and they can put ads on and make money. And it's a beautiful program to be able to communicate with friends and family and kids and everybody in your life. And it's great for even businesses, but it could definitely take away from whatever your goals may be. For a lot of people, I think that if they're just trying to, if they're in work and they're trying to be a little more successful within that, I think that these things, they can be a great means to, you have so many hours in the day. You have 24 hours in the day, maybe sleep 6 to 8 hours, and you're at work 8 hours. There's a lot of time left within your every single day that if you use these things effectively, then you could probably create a business online, and you could make a whole nother living, and maybe that enables you to then leave the job you're at and move on, or maybe that enables you to just Snapchat, stay in contact with your grandkids, and because it's just faster and they're on it, right? So if those are the things, that's fine. But I think just looking at the number of hours a day that you're on them and finding that these urgent items that are popping up in front of you constantly could probably be time better spent. We're getting some dirty looks up here. I won't say anything. This conversation's been had. Do you want to talk? I'll just kind of step aside. So, oh boy. So, that's good. So for me, building a routine applies not only to the positive things that are going to have a kind of a greater impact on my life, but also the things that do have an impact on my business for myself and for you in other ways, right? Family and friends. But you have to build a routine within them. I took Facebook off my phone. Instagram is only a phone app. I don't have Snapchat. So took Facebook off my phone because it was taking away a lot of my time. Now I only get on the computer at night for Facebook or in the morning. There's 2 times of the day I'll get on it. I check my emails once a day. Dina knows that. So I only check those things once a day because I'm pretty good with phone calls, and that's how the business really operates. So if I'm thinking an email, most likely is not an urgent thing. People are going to call me if there needs to be something done right away. And that's the kind of the same way in probably everybody's life. If someone says, help, 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 probably not going to send an email. They're more than likely going to give you a call. So for me, setting aside not only time for reading or meal prepping, my nutrition, setting a time for exercise, time with my family on the weekends, especially in the weekdays, definitely gets hard. For me, my schedule's kind of in the morning, so it's 5 o'clock till 11, and then it starts up again at 3:30 until 8:30. So I have more of a split schedule, I guess. I think it's awesome because I go to the bank really easy. If I come here right at 11 o'clock, I'm good. So those things work well. But I've also set aside time just for the Facebooks, just for the Instagrams, because otherwise I found myself 20, 30 minutes would blast by, and I lost that time. And that could have been time better spent. I could have listened to a podcast, I could have read a book, I could have somehow stepped myself further. And if I think that Leah, one of my members, is going to ask me about nutrition, what on Facebook, Snapchat, or Instagram is probably going to step me forward in knowledge? More than likely none of that. But currently taking a class online that is pretty hard, and there's books that send. It's a very, very hard nutritional course, and every hour that I put into that is the sooner that I can help. The sooner I can help her family, someone in her life, if I take care of my end of the business. But if I'm on Facebook for 3 hours throughout the day because I feel I need to be, or just because, then that takes away. If I'm constantly refreshing my emails, which then creates more work, because most likely if you sent an email, you're gonna get one right back, and then because everybody else is doing the same thing. But if I set aside this time, now I'm really stepping further forward in life in the things that I want to progress in the most. Also including, for me, exercise and nutrition are a really big one. But, besides the business and my family, then personally, exercise and nutrition is mine. And those things can positively impact the rest of my members or everyone in this room. If I did not listen to anything in school and sit there on blog websites and learning about fitness and nutrition, I wouldn't be able to tell you half of what I'm able to say today as far as talking to you on whatever level you're at. Accepting short-term discomfort for a long-term gain. If you are someone that uses, especially these social medias, I promise you, when you first stop using it, if you choose to try that, when you first stop using it, it's going to be frustrating. You are going to think, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm missing out on something. You're not missing out on anything, right? There's nothing that important. And then B, you're also going to feel like, you're definitely going to feel like you're behind. But B, you're also going to realize how much time you have. Short-term discomfort, say within CrossFit, it's a workout. It's really, really hard. It's as hard as you make it though. So for myself, if I'm gonna run a quarter mile, there's a time and a place to run it very easy as a warm-up or maybe walk it. For myself, if I think that I wanna perform well, then I have to make it uncomfortable. It's not gonna kill me. It's not gonna really actually hurt me. It's gonna be uncomfortable. But for the long-term gain of being able to run faster, being able to lift something heavier, it's not going to be comfortable. We have these things called assault bikes, like you saw the girl earlier who looked like she was having a panic attack. The bikes are very, very uncomfortable when you're going really fast. You can just bike on it and it's a casual bike, it's nothing. But if you really, really bike hard, it definitely makes your legs burn. It's super, super hard and you'll be winded. The more uncomfortable I can make that for myself, the better I'll perform later on as far as the workout goes, as far as a competition goes. But for someone's straight health, if they're able to push themselves in the workout, they don't have to push themselves to the point of being terribly in pain. That's not going to happen. But getting uncomfortable, that will yield a better result, right? There's no overnight success. It definitely takes time. And I think, am I near the end? Oh, they did. Most important, go to GSR CrossFit. So other than that, create a routine and just be consistent, whether it's in your diet or if it's in exercise or if it's in relationships. You just have to be consistent. Anyone that's ever had a girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, wife, anything like that, or a dog, you have to be nice to them. So you have to be consistent with them. Otherwise, nothing will be reciprocated, right? And if I'm not good to my body with nutrition, then I'm not going to get the results that I want. Fitness, the same thing. So anything in life, you just have to be consistent with it, and you'd be amazed at what happens. Maximizing your time, you control your effort that you put in. Just like the bike being uncomfortable for a short time, that's totally your choice. I can use measurable things within CrossFit. So I know that in a 1 minute time frame, I know that, say, my grandmother could bike 6 calories. It's a measurement on it, not actual calorie. 6 calories. And then I know that, Wendy here, I know that she can do 8 to 10 calories. 10 to 12 would make her uncomfortable. 8 is kind of a more reasonable number. So when we're making workouts, those things matter. Myself, I'd be more in the 12, 15 range, right? So it kind of depends where I want people to be as far as, are you putting in actual effort or are you slacking? And you can work, the coaches are there as far as your fitness goes to be able to kind of say, hey, you should shoot for this time frame. You should try to do your rowing or your quarter mile walk, run, whatever it is. It should be done in this time frame. And we're there to try and meet you so that you can be the most successful and kind of realize your potential. Otherwise, that's probably something. When I started, I think I read this or heard this on a podcast a long time ago, and it's something I ask myself daily, every day, in every action. Is it actually stepping me forward? And I'm guilty of eating donuts and cookies and brownies. Maybe way too many this weekend again, but I don't feel guilty about it because I have to choose it and know the result I'm going to get because of it. When you get in a fight with your spouse and you walk out the door, you have to know when you walk out the door, you chose that, right? Before you fix the situation. You have to know that if you choose to eat the brownies and you walk out the door and you eat more brownies, you keep choosing that. And if you're happy within it, do it to it, right? It's going to be an awesome life. But if there's something that you're wanting, you're yearning for, then you have to realize to really reach your greatest potential, you have to ask yourself this in every action. Make sense?
Yes.
I think otherwise, I'm pretty solid. If you have any questions, just come up with a question. Ask what hair product I use. So just make me feel good. Otherwise, thank you for listening to my rant. It feels like I'm just spieling, so. Yes, sir.
How important is sleep?
How important is sleep?
The latest thing I heard on I'm a news buff,
Yeah.
and they said that it makes mind weak and something else.
To sleep makes the mind weak?
No,
Reverse.
sleep.
Yes.
Sleep.
As far as all of this goes, I should have included it. You got me. As far as that goes, it's equally as important as nutrition. You could definitely get away with probably 6 hours of sleep. When you go into the 4 and 5 hour range, that's tough. And it all depends on your body type too. Different people need more sleep. In the world we live in, especially with social media or just late night events, concerts, things like that. I mean, it's very normal to be up at 8, 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night. BU had some of our members go to BU, and they had a biking contest against another university, and we went to it the other night, 6 of us, and it was very, very fun, but it ran from 10 to midnight, and then I had class, and I was up at 4:30. So that was a rough day, but I'm not probably going to perform my best, and if I kept that schedule up, it probably would affect me negatively. Whether it's directly in health, and a doctor is going to answer that question way better than I, but as far as performance goes, you got to sleep adequately. If you think that you're going to do an hour-long workout Monday through Friday, and then you're only going to sleep 3.5 hours, and you're going to do a 9-hour work shift, you're probably going to burn out at some point. There was a long time, especially when the gym first started, 2.5 years of it, where I did work excessive hours. I probably couldn't even measure them, and basically I was sleeping about 4 hours. Every single Saturday, I'd sleep 7.5 hours during the middle of the day, and I'd sleep a full night into Sunday. It was rough, but that's just what it was, and that's what the schedule allowed, so I ran with it. But I tell you what, when I finally stopped painting and I slept normal hours at night, the change in my body was just unreal. I feel great.
So there's a lot of outside influence effects that
Major.
yeah.
And you could have trouble sleeping if you have a bad diet. If you're eating super late at night, there's a lot with, I'm trying to think, like heartburn, and probably some nurses in here are nodding their heads, but there's a lot going on with heartburn if you're eating super late at night and then you lay down, basically like stomach acids coming up and things like that. Yeah. Any other questions? You can pretend.
How long did it take to get your beard that length?
How long did it take to get my beard this length? Let me think. I've been cutting it down constantly, so it should be really long, but I cut it down constant over the past 3 or 4 years.
Class sizes.
Our class sizes are, I'd say our quick fit classes are going to be between 5 and 10, and then our typical CrossFit, it's very much ranging. Certain hours are smaller. Our 9 and our 4 are small, and the rest of the classes are pretty large. So say on the smaller end, you're going to see 8 to 12, and the larger end, you'd see more 13 up to 20. Yeah, and that's just an hour dependent, you know, very heavy right after people get out of work. A little bit, 4 o'clock is a pretty light class. People are still rolling in. Yeah. And we do a week for free. Shameless plug. Oh.
You have to come every day for that week.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. No credit card, no nothing. Yeah, just have fun. That's one thing the gym's always done. I should say the gym, myself, whatever you want to call it. I just want people to learn. If I can give one good thing, that's awesome. So if you can come in and you meet somebody awesome, if you can come in and have a conversation with me, talk about nutrition, maybe learn how to do a push-up properly, then you go about your business and continue on, then that's a win. You know, that's good for us and it's good for you, and we don't mind if you walk away with knowledge. Even if someone has, we've had people that have come in and said, I'm not really sure the price point works for me. I said, I don't care, come for a week. And they don't want to. And they have, and it's awesome, and they learned something. And if in 1 week we got to teach you something, even if you had no intent of signing up, what's it matter to us, right? We're going to run classes anyway, so as long as we're still growing, we're happy, and you learned something.
Where are you located?
There we go. I'll give you a business card too. Yeah, in Vestal,
Well, go ahead.
next to the rail trail.
Oh, no, I was going to say, I went to the doctor and he's like, wow, your heart rate's 49, you're an athlete. And I'm like, yeah, I'm an athlete. Yeah, I'm an athlete. I hardly take medicine, anything, right?
Yeah.
I go home and I look at the last time I went to the doctor and my BMI is like 24. And I'm like, oh no, that's not the BMI of an athlete. Like, how could you be both?
BMI is the worst measurement. Don't get me wrong, it can apply to some people, right? It definitely can, but BMI is a terrible measurement. I'm morbidly obese.
Yeah.
So, you know, exercise all the time, but I am. I'm very dense. So, but according to BMI, yeah, it's off. It doesn't account for muscle. So, yes?
Yeah, you, class prices, you said, did you really say $5 to $8 for a class?
Yeah, so our monthly membership would be $140 a month. And if you divide it across all the classes, that's what it is.
Oh, I see.
Yep. Yeah, that's coming 4 to 5 times a week, 140.
I just want to say you're an excellent speaker.
Cool, all right.
Very well prepared.
Did she write a note and tell you that?
No, but I
Slipped an extra.
now I have 3 kids, and they're high school age, college athletes, and I really wish they could have heard this, because very well prepared, and it was very enjoyable.
Thank you very much. I think they can on Facebook.
Yes, that's actually on
Oh,
YouTube.
really?
Yes, we
Oh,
live stream
great.
this. You can hear this.
You're all on YouTube. Thanks so much.
All right. So very good. Thank you very much for everybody coming. It was a good one.
All right.
You did really good.
Thanks.
You were